Hello again guys, welcome back to episode 2 of Big Bud Farm. So we've finished ploughing, the ploughs have been cleaned and put away, and now we are ready to start fertilising our field, ready for seeding. So let's grab our bridle spreader. And so I don't really use this thing because it's just so big, and I tend to play with crop destruction as well, as I am on this farm. And these wheels are so big on this unit that they will crush anything and everything. But if we do our planting right, then we won't have to worry about crop destruction. If we get our fertilizer down early enough in the growth stages, then we don't have to worry about accidentally, crushing all of our crops. So let's get this thing filled up. It's going to take a long time and a lot of money. See the pellets going in. We've got about 12,000 litres of pellets to go in that. So while that's doing that, we'll turn the engine off. Let's jump into our other big bud. We'll grab our seeder and we'll get that filled up and sort of ready. And what I'm going to do is fertilise the fields, and then once the fields are fertilised, we are going to run a cultivator over the fields, and chasing it will be this big bud with the seeder. Okay, there we go. So let's get that filled up. Let's see how much our money goes down with both seed and pellets going in. Now we can see the seed level is climbing in there. Let's have a look in here. Oh, we're not even close to being full, are we? This could take a little while, so I'll be back in just a second. Well, I thought it was a 12,000 litre tank. It's considerably more than that, as you can see. We're going to be pushing 20,000 here. Yeah, 20,000 litres of fertiliser. That's a huge amount. Oops. So, that's just cost us, oh wow, $50,000, best part of $47,999 in fertiliser costs. That is ridiculous. Well, hopefully we shouldn't have to fill this up for a long time now, so it's a lot of money. Wow. 50,000, or best part of $48,000 just to fill this thing up. That's insane. But we're going to need something this big. We're probably going to need 2 of these when it comes to fertilizing. Oh, it's not that wide either. I thought it would have a wider width than that. I'm used to using sprayers. I see, that's still not quite right. Get him started. Get nice coverage on the field. There we go. Yeah, hopefully we won't have to fill this up now for a very long time. I'm just watching it go down. It's going down quicker than I would like. It's not going down that fast, but it's definitely going down faster than I would have liked to have seen for the amount of money we've just spent on fertilizer. That is, I still can't get over that. $48,000 to fill this thing up. Wow, we know we're playing on hard with costs like that. Christ almighty. Alright, so this is full. And our seed costs, $10,500 on seed. This is not going to be a cheap farm to run when it comes to filling things up. These placeables are very expensive. So we'll park here, sort of ready in place. And just to make things a little bit easier, we'll bring the cultivator over as well. So all we have to do is just sort of drive up to it and park up to it. Or connect up to it that way. I still can't get over that $48,000 to fill that fertilizing tank. I mean, we're at, what, 30 grand in debt already? We haven't even started planting yet. But we're covered. I mean, that 5.5 grand should, well, 5,800 litres of seed should easily do that field and the field over there as well. And our fertilizer tank will easily be able to cover all of our fertilization stages. Or at least I hope it does. Be really worried if it doesn't. How are we getting on? Oh, we've only done one pass. Is that all we've done? How much did we use? About 400 litres of seed fertilizer doing one pass. We're looking at probably 5 passes, maybe 6 to do this field. So that's what, 2,500 litres of fertilizer for this field. We'll have to do that 2 more times, so we're talking around 7,500 litres, 6 to 7,500 litres of fertilizer to get this field fully fertilised all the way up to stage 3. Then we have the other field on top of that as well. That'll probably be about half of that. So it looks like this will do both fields twice before it needs a refill. You know, both fields all the way up to stage 3 twice. So that's what I think it'll happen anyway. So, all right. Well, while that's doing that, let's just have another look around the farm as our combine. So I would really love a larger combine, but financially it's just not a viable option right now. I mean, I could max out the loan, take this in, trade it in, and with the loan money as well, we could afford to upgrade this to the larger combine with the larger header. But it's just not financially viable at this stage. We don't need a combine larger than that. You know, we are good to go with the equipment that we have, so. Alright, well, let's do a little warping again. We'll do a little time jump. And I will catch you back here as this field finishes off. So it looks like we're going to have just a little thin strip left on the edge that isn't going to be fertilised. I'm not going to waste a lot of fertiliser just for that thin strip. I mean, it's a long strip. There's a lot of field, effectively, that isn't going to be fertilised when you think about it. But I can't justify, you know, wasting all of that fertiliser on such a thin strip. Look how wide our spray is compared to how little would actually be needed. And it's a long old pass, so I just can't justify. That's too much. So we'll have to make do with, say, a little strip there that hasn't been fertilised. We'll just have to be very careful going forward. Maybe, in fact, if I take over, maybe I can actually squeeze a little bit more width out of this. A little bit of an overlap. No, see, now we're drifting too far away. Yeah, it's a bit better. It's still a little bit iffy in places. We'll have to think about how we go about this. Can't really run a weeder again because I can't put I can't put care wheels on a big bud for obvious reasons. These things are so big and so heavy that they just wouldn't support care wheels. But there we go, that's that field done. So let's head over to field 5. Let's go and fertilise that field. And there we go, so we used around 2,500, just under 2,500 litres, which is what I was kind of predicting. So hopefully we won't have the same sort of overlap or short pass requirements on the next field that we do on this one. That would be a bit of an issue. Really need to sort of maximise our fields. What I might do is when I do the next pass of fertilisation, which will be after seeding, start on this side, so at least the crop is getting some fertilisation. We'll see how it goes. So here we are then, approaching our second field. Let's see if I can judge the start point a little bit better this time. That looks to be pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I think that's pretty much spot on our working width there. Good stuff. Alright, so I'll see you again when this field is finished. Well, looks like we have unfortunately got the same issue on this field that we did on the other one. We just don't have a good enough working width to get a proper coverage across the field. This one's actually a little bit wider as well, so I think we might have to run the field again to make sure that we are filling this one up entirely. But going forward, we're going to have to look at maybe a different way of fertilising our fields. This is definitely going to be an issue. Maybe we'll have to invest in a Terminator a little bit quicker than I anticipated. I certainly can't afford one of those right now. We need about 310,000, I think it is, to be able to buy that unit. And with the loan money we have available, we have a maximum of about 170,000 available to us. So just over half the money that we need. So we're going to be reliant on our income, our revenue from crops, for a little while before we can really start to upgrade our equipment. But I think we're definitely going to have to look at an alternative method for fertilisation. So maybe what I'll do is invest in a cheap tractor, just a little one, and get a weeder, and then weed the crops once they start growing. I'll have to have a think about that while I'm seeding. Okay, so there we go. We are done fertilising the field. So let's go drop this back off. We'll give our big bud a clean. And then we'll get on with the cultivating and planting stage. So I will catch you back in just a moment. Okay, so we're back at the farm. Let's wash this down. And we'll give our tractor a clean as well. He's looking pretty dirty already. Now, one thing I have noticed while I've been watching these tractors going up and down the field, something I didn't initially notice is this drive shaft here that I'm pointing to there. That drive shaft also spins as the vehicle moves. So just have a watch, zoom in, and it's the same on the 747 as well. You can see the drive shaft turning there, which I think is a really nice extra little bit of animation on this that I didn't initially pick up on. And its speed is determined by how fast the vehicle is moving. So as I slow down, you see the drive shaft slows down as well. I like that. That's a really nice little touch that, again, I just completely missed the first time I used these vehicles. Okay, there we go. So the fertilizer is back away. Let's go connect up to our cultivator. We'll start cultivating the field, and then we'll run the seeder behind it as well. And we'll get our planting operation up and running. So here we go. This is my first use of this cultivator in anger. First time it's being used outside of testing on an actual proper farm. We'll get him lined up and positioned. And there we go, off he goes. So here you can see the cultivation is going on. One thing you may not have noticed initially, if you haven't used this already, I did try and cover it in my video, you can see there is actually a front section there that cultivates a thin strip in front of the wheels. If we go overhead, you can kind of see it a little bit more clearly. But we're going to get this guy down this pass, turn around, go up, and then as he starts his third pass going back down the field again, that's when we'll run our seeder, because I think our seeder has a slightly wider working width. We go to the store and have a look. The cultivator should be 18 meters. That's 18.2. Well, maybe the cultivator is slightly wider than the seeder then. Oh, they're the same, exactly the same width. But just to avoid the possibility of accidentally tearing up seeds that we're putting down, or colliding on each pass, we'll get them running with a a couple of passes width between the two of them, or a pass width between the two of them. So anyway, we were going to look at how we could potentially sort out our fertilization issue. So I'm thinking we need a small tractor for a weeder, and that tractor is going to need to be able to pull the weeder. The weeder has a requirement of 95 horsepower, so it's not too bad. That opens up a lot of options for us. So even something like this little stayer multi would be useful. Just the first two are kind of ruled out. I mean, no power options on these two at all. I don't really want to go New Holland on this map. Lintrack is not really the kind of tractor that we would see in this setting, I don't think. So again, same with Zeta. I don't think we'd see the Hurleyman there either. They're a Swiss tractor company. Highly unlikely you'll ever see any of those in the States, although they are really nice looking tractors. I do like the look of them. I'm thinking maybe we go with the Case, but again, we don't have the care wheel options, so that kind of rules that one out, which is a shame because I'd like to have used that one. So then we start looking into the slightly more modern tractors. We could go Valtra. Valtra would work, wouldn't it? We have narrow wheels available for that. Yeah, we haven't really used Valtra before, so if we go with a Valtra, it's got enough grunt, 145 horsepower to be useful. It can be fitted with a front loader if we ever need a front loader. I think we're going to go with this. So let's go into our finances. Well, we'll do that later because we're almost ready to get our seeder going. So let's get the seeder up and running. You can see the frame rate issues a little bit rearing their head. Might possibly be because we're on a mod map. I think it's also partly down to the DLC as well. The DLC does generate some frame rate issues, as I covered in my review. You can see a little bit of judder there. Okay, so how do I drop? There we go, let's get him started. We're going to take over the cultivator. And there we go. Look at that. Seeding and cultivating in unison. It's going to be easy for us to follow the plough line here, run down these furrows. Not quite so easy to do in a seeder. How cool is that? Both machines working the same field at the same time. And this is the kind of thing that I want to do more of. Having two machines running at the same time on the same field, managing them both. It's not so much of an issue when it comes to to cultivating and seeding like this. They're both plug and play, easy to run. Don't have to worry about them changing from one side of the field to the other. But obviously with ploughing, that's a bit more hands-on. It'll be the same with harvesting when we get a second combine. We'll run both at one side of the field, and we'll have to manage their seed tanks, accordingly. Make sure that they're unloaded properly, because on these larger fields, there is no way that they're going to make a full pass before they full up. So they will need to be constantly unloaded all the way up the field, which means 2 workers running the combines, me running the auger, making sure that they're unloaded, and then when they get to the end, taking control, positioning them on the opposite side of the field, running them back down again. Again, keeping them unloaded all the way along. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. But we are a little way off being able to do that just yet. Let's try and judge this. We are off target there. That's close enough. So I'm actually going to let the seeder just run ahead of me a little bit. Just because I want to see the seed going in while we are cultivating at the same time. Just drifting a little bit too wide. Let's ease our way back across. There we go. And it looks like we are running fractionally faster than the seeder. This is a pretty big field, even with these 18-metre working widths. It still takes us a fair old chunk of time to run up and down this field. And we've got, again, we're going to have an overlap left, I think, at the end. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of time involved in this field here. It's quite a big field in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's a decent width. It's quite a long field. It's definitely a really good sized starting field. I'm really hopeful that we're going to get a decent amount of crop off this field once it's ready for harvest. So we're going to need to run back down the field again. There's our seeder plodding away for us there. Even if I completely squared this thing up, we would still have an overlap left over, so I'd rather play it safe, make sure that we are getting good coverage on this pass, and then we'll run back down. We're going to have to head back down anyway to go to the next field. Maybe there's scope to widen the field ever so slightly. I mean, it's pretty tied up against the bushes on this side, and it is on the other side as well, so there's not really a lot of extra width that we can add to this field. It's pretty close to the edges before we start getting into those bushes as is. It's not like on American Outback where there's scope on most fields to increase the width by a few meters. This, as you can see, we are really quite close up against those bushes, and the last thing I want is to have those growing up through the crops, because it just looks naff. Really looks bad. So yeah, we're kind of, this is pretty much it in terms of width. I don't think we can really widen the field in any way. So as we come to the end of this field with our cultivating tractor, it's about time to wrap up this episode. So we will pick up and carry on seeding field 5 in the next episode. So thank you for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you back on Big Bud Farm very soon.